Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And guys, man, it feels like I could say this every week now, man. Another fight card means another Apex card for us, us UFC fans. It's starting to get to a point now. I've been talking about it for months and months now, talking about how annoyed I am with these Apex cards. But it's getting to a point now, man. For these last 2 years now, maybe even 2.5 years, you could probably take a handful of cards out there that have been phenomenal fight cards. That, especially the London cards we've had. We've had some decent ones, but for the most part, man, these fight nights have turned into below average, mediocre at best, lackluster. I mean, even last week, it's not the ladies' faults at all, but, I thought the main event was very well deserved. I think Aaron Blanchfield, Manny Fiorello, basically a number one contenders fight. Like, yeah, on paper, phenomenal. Two up-and-coming risers, like, prospects. Of course, I'm going to watch this. But Manny Fiorello put on such a good performance last weekend that it was almost boring. It almost made me fall asleep because I couldn't, it was so tough to watch. It wasn't that great of a competitive fight. But still, as much as I can talk about these Apex cards, these fight nights and everything, the UFC will always make us come back and make us watch because UFC 300 and these cards like UFC 299, all these things, man. Next week, we have our WrestleMania. We have our Super Bowl, whatever you want to call it. UFC 300 is so damn stacked, man. And I know, in comparison to Dana White and the UFC promising us some of the most stacked and most like mind-blowing fights we've ever got, we didn't receive those for this card. But man, I mean, I'm really dying to see what the fan interaction is going to be because I think this card almost might be too stacked. Luckily I talked about how, Cody Garbrandt and Deiveson Figueiredo are opening up the early prelims at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm excited to see if people even watch these. I always do. I'm always on my ESPN app. I'm always watching the early prelims and the prelims on my phone. But I know I don't want to say I'm a diehard fan all like that, but I know I like watching fights a little more than the average bear does. Most people just check in for the top 2, top 3 fights of the night. So I'm really dying to see how these people are going to react. Us fans are going to react to such stacked cards, And there's a lot of fights I'm not even going to be able to talk about, man. Like, I'm excited to see if Bruce Buffer introduces Jim Miller as Jim fucking Miller as he fights Bobby Green, Hanato Money Moicano, and Jalen Turner at 155. That's worthy of a co-main event at one of these Apex cards or any fight night, to be honest. That's a stacked fight right there. Diego Lopez, who's Alexa Grasso's BJJ coach, he's fighting Sadiq Youssef. That's going to be a fun one. Yuri Prohashka and Alexander Rakic are on the prelims. Like, I'm excited to see how this stuff goes. There's going to be so many fights, swept under the rug, overlooked, everything. Like, I'm even looking at the fight card every day, and I'm sitting here like, wow, I forgot this fight. But I truly believe, man, one of the most slept on, one of the most underrated, one of the most overlooked fights on this entire thing, storyline, whatever you want to call it for UFC 300, is Aljamain Sterling making his debut at 145 against Calvin Kattar. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand where all the hate comes from Aljamain Sterling. Ever since the Petr Yan fight with the knee, you could call it an Oscar performance. You could call it, selling it to become a champion. You could, an easy way out of a fight. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's not even his fault that the thing was thrown, but I get why people hate him, and I know now especially everybody's excited to be done with him because Sean O'Malley won. But, man, I really think right here is make or break for Aljamain Sterling. We're going to see. So I'm telling you guys, I think this is probably going to be one of the best chance of Aljamain Sterling revamping his career and, maybe finding that love again. Because let's be real, the last few years he's been already talking about moving up to 145. This 135 cut has been killing him. I'm truly excited. And I know all these people hate him and everything, but regardless of how you feel about the guy, you can never deny that this man's pound for pound, one of the greatest grapplers we have ever witnessed in MMA and the UFC in general. I don't care if you're a Dagestani. I don't care if you're from China. I don't care if you're from Canada. I don't care if you're from Germany. I don't care where you're from. The US, I don't care where you're from. This man is one of the greatest grapplers out there. It doesn't even matter how you feel about the guy. And I'm excited to see how this goes, especially against somebody like Calvin Kattar, who's such a fan favorite. Like, yeah, cool. Calvin Kattar is never probably going to be in the title picture ever, especially after what we already saw with Max Holloway done to him. Josh Emmett got the best of him. Arnold Allen got the best of him. Like, we've watched this, but the reason we all love Calvin Kattar is because no matter what, no matter if you're beating his ass, no matter how much punishment he's taken, no matter if you're breaking records for the most strikes landed on this guy or collapsing his lung, this dude is never going to quit. He's going to come back. He's going to take more punishment than 95% of the entire population could even take. 99.9% of the population could even take, and he's still going to come back and bring it his all. But this is the perfect case scenario right here if you're Aljamain Sterling. This is it. If you lose to Calvin Kattar, it's going to be tough, man, to really see yourself making a future at 145. No hate toward Calvin Kattar whatsoever, but this is the perfect, like, he's not a journeyman whatsoever because he's still worthy of that top 10, top 15 rank, but this isn't, this isn't the top 5. This isn't Volkanovski. This isn't Tapura. This isn't Max Holloway. These aren't Arnold Allen. This isn't Evlov. These aren't these guys that are absolute killers at 145 that you're probably going to potentially be fighting. But I'm telling you, man, if Aljamain Sterling can pull this off, if he can backpack Calvin Kattar, this is going to be one for the future, man. I'm telling you guys right now, all the matchups out there for Aljamain Sterling, I love his odds. And I think the reason I love him so much at UFC 300 against Calvin Kattar is not only is Calvin Kattar getting a little older, he's taken a lot of damage. I mean, even the fights that he has won, like when he knocked out Jeremy Stevens, when he's beaten Shane Burgos, when he fought Zabit, when he's fought all these guys, even the Josh Emmett, Arnold Allen, Max Holloway. This man has taken so much damage over the years. This man has all the game plan. The blueprint is out there to beat the guy. And I'm just telling you guys, every time we've ever counted out Aljamain Sterling, Corey Sandhagen fight going into that one. Oh, Corey Sandhagen's going to pull it out. Aljamain Sterling tied him up in a pretzel in 60 seconds, if that, defeated him that quick with a rear naked choke. It was done. See you later. Petr Yan fight. He came out looking phenomenal in the first half. Second half, Petr Yan's looking amazing. And the whole legal knee thing, everybody hates him. He gets surgery, all these things. He comes back, and yeah, you can say that fight was close against Petr Yan in the second fight. You can never deny the fact that the rounds that Aljamain did win were way more definitive than what Petr Yan's was against Aljo. This man, Aljamain Sterling had his back locked up for like 12 minutes of that fight. It was absolutely impressive. We've never seen Petr Yan go into those positions. And even with the whole Henry Cejudo fight, a lot of people were talking like, yeah, maybe Henry's striking might not be the best or whatever, but I think Henry Cejudo is going to out-grapple him, out-wrestle him. He's an Olympic gold medalist. And what did Aljamain Sterling go out there and do? Took him down more than Henry took him down. And I'm just telling you guys, man, this guy is good. He's not going to have to pace himself for 5 rounds. He got all the time in the world to just go do it for 15 minutes. I'm telling you, I wouldn't be shocked at all if he gets Kattar down pretty fast and gets a nasty submission or something. I'm just telling you guys, man, this is massive for Aljamain Sterling. This is huge. He's finally kind of got all the hype and all the eyes away from him, like we saw with the whole Sugar Sean fight. He's not going to get overwhelmed. It's almost like he can breathe again. He doesn't have any expectations on him. If he loses, guess what? You're probably not going to make anything at 145. I wouldn't be shocked if we see him, maybe retire after this fight or maybe one other one. But if this man wins, could you guys imagine the fight between him and Brian Ortega? Like, oh my God, the grappling display that we would see would be absolutely phenomenal. And I don't care about any of the guys I'm about to name. Arnold Allen, Max Holloway, Volkanovski, Tapura, Movsar Evlov, all these guys that I just named. I'm telling y'all right now, they might have the power advantage. Yeah, sure, you don't want to strike with any one of these dudes, but if Aljamain Sterling gets you down and gets your back, I don't care who you are in massive trouble. Max Holloway, my favorite guy in the world. I highly doubt that ever happens. And if he goes out there and, beats Justin Gaethje, cool, he might stay at 155. But Volkanovski, love you to death. And it's hard to get his back. It's hard to choke him. But if Aljamain Sterling gets that, man, I'm telling you guys right now, it could be a trouble. Brian Ortega fight be phenomenal. Evlov, if Aljo gets you down, good luck, buddy. Arnold Allen, if he gets you down, good luck, buddy. I'm just telling you guys, there are some phenomenal matchups potentially here for Aljamain Sterling, and I really like his odds. He really could get back on track here. He's got some of the greatest coaches in his corner, so with Ray Longo and freaking Matt Serra and just the whole group over there with Marab and the whole training, it's phenomenal, man. But what I don't like about it is if Aljamain Sterling does go out there and lose to Calvin Kattar or barely skims by or anything, it's going to be tough because you can't go back down to 135. Marab, your best friend, your training partner, is already basically fighting for the championship. He's already locked in for the next few years. Maybe not the champion, but he's up there in the top 5, top 3 for sure for the next few years. You have Sugar Sean out there that just beat. You got Sandhagen. You got all these killers in that weight cut and everything. Like, this is make or break for Aljamain Sterling, and I'm telling y'all right now, do not sleep on this kid. I think he can maybe pull something crazy out of UFC 300, and I think we're going to be sitting here wondering, damn, maybe that Brian Ortega fight really is the fight we want to watch. So, with all these plot lines, all these storylines, all these fights that are happening at UFC 300, it's crazy that something like Davis and Figueiredo making a huge climb at 135 and Aljamain Sterling, two former champions making absolute massive climbs at a new weight class. This stuff would be talked about if it was a main event or co-main event at an Apex card or any other card, if it's just a normal card. But since these last two have been so stacked and everything, and this UFC 300 one so stacked, these get swept under the rug. So do not sleep at all. I'm telling you guys, do not sleep at all on Aljamain Sterling. But it's always your boy Steven Moustaris, and I almost damn near knocked my mic over. But we will definitely be getting a bunch of UFC 300 stuff going. And as always, man, enjoy your life. Let's go, baby.